Let me say something to you before I say anything else. The voice you've been holding back, the one you've been editing for years, the one you swallow at the dinner table, the one that tries to come out at 3 a.m. and you tell it to wait until you're sure. That voice is about to find its channel. I want you to hear me when I tell you this, because I've been watching this for 40 years, and the timing of what's happening on May 2nd is the kind of timing the cosmos doesn't waste. On May 2nd, at 10:57 in the evening Eastern Time, that's 7:57 Pacific, just before 4 a.m. in London the next day, Mercury, the planet of voice, leaves Aries and enters Taurus at 0 degrees. 0 degrees and 0 minutes, the cleanest entry there is. Mercury is going to stay in Taurus until May 17th, about 15 days, 3 weeks if you count the integration. And in that window, the way you speak, the words you find, the sentences you've been waiting your whole second half of life to be able to put together, they begin to arrive. This isn't pop astrology. This is what the ancient astrologers called the descent of the messenger into fixed earth. Mercury moving from the impulsive fire of Aries, that's the planet where words come out half-formed, where you say something and 10 seconds later wish you'd said it differently, into the slow, deliberate, weighted ground of Taurus, where words land, where they don't have to be repeated, where what you say is what you mean. And I need you to hear this before May 12th, because that's when the second wave hits. This is why I had to record this today. I'm Luna Solano, and I'm not going to give you a lecture today. I'm going to talk to you the way I'd talk to someone sitting across from me at my kitchen table, someone who's been carrying something for a long time and is finally ready to say it out loud. 40 years of reading the stars has taught me one thing about Mercury and Taurus that nobody outside of this work talks about. Mercury is fast. Mercury is mental. Mercury wants to dart and deflect. But when Mercury enters Taurus, Mercury slows down. Mercury becomes a witness instead of a chatter. Mercury starts speaking from the body, from the throat, from the chest, from the breath, instead of from the head. And for an audience like the one watching this video right now, women in your 50s, your 60s, your 70s, who have spent decades being talked over, being told you're too much or too quiet, being asked to soften, to wait, to let someone else go first. Mercury entering Taurus is the cosmos handing you back your voice. Slowly, deliberately, with weight. Let me tell you what's happening in the sky around this. Because Mercury isn't moving alone. The degree Mercury enters at, 0 degrees Taurus, has a Sabian symbol. Marc Edmund Jones, the canonical astrologer who recorded these in 1925, gave that degree this image: a clear mountain stream. He wrote that this symbol means the purity, the excellence, and the immediate availability of the strength and power of being. He called it a symbol of the individual spirit in its irrepressibility, self-sustainment, refreshment, the invitation extended by all nature for self-expression. A clear mountain stream. Think about that for a moment. Not a roaring waterfall, not a managed reservoir. A stream that has found its channel and is moving the way it was always meant to move. That is the energy entering your communication on May 2nd. The voice that's been frozen at altitude, high up, compressed, snowed in, is finally beginning to thaw and find its natural way down. And then on May 5th, 3 days after Mercury enters, there's a square to Pluto in Aquarius. That square is going to push. That square is going to bring up the conversation you've been avoiding. The one with the sister, the one with the partner, the one with the grown child, the one with yourself in the mirror at 5 a.m. Pluto doesn't ask permission. Pluto presses. And Mercury in Taurus, instead of running, plants its feet and answers. Then on May 12th, May 13th, Mercury in Taurus sextiles Jupiter in Cancer. Sextile is a soft aspect, opportunity, ease, expansion. Jupiter in Cancer is the planet of generosity, in the sign of memory and home. So when Mercury in Taurus sextiles Jupiter Cancer, the words you've been searching for to talk about your mother, your father, your hometown, your generation, those words arrive. Carrying them is no longer the burden. Saying them becomes the relief. This hasn't been the configuration since 2014, and the next time Mercury crosses into Taurus this cleanly, into the post-Scorpio revelation slot, with Jupiter in Cancer ready to receive it, with Pluto retrograde in Aquarius pressing the deeper conversation, won't be again until 2038, 12 years from now. So if you've been waiting to say something, this is the window. And before I go further, I want to say one thing directly. Subscribe so you don't miss what comes next, because Mercury isn't moving alone in May, and the next 2 weeks have 3 more cosmic punctuation moments I'll be walking you through. Now let me give you what I always come here to give you. 3 messages from the cosmos for this Mercury ingress. 3 things this planet, in this sign, is asking you to receive. The first message is personal, and it is this. The voice you froze is finding its channel. If you've been feeling, for weeks now, maybe for months, like there's something sitting in your throat that won't come out and won't go down, you're not imagining it. You haven't been imagining the way you start a sentence and then dissolve it, the way you draft an email and then save it and never send it, the way you compose what you'd say to your husband, or your daughter, or the friend who hurt you in 2019, in your head, over and over, and never in real life. That holding pattern is real. It has a name. It's Mercury in late Aries, fast, hot, half-finished, and it's about to end. Think of it like this. Think of a stream that's been frozen at the top of a mountain. The water is still there. The water hasn't gone anywhere. It's just been compressed, locked under ice, waiting for the temperature to shift. May 2nd is the temperature shift. The thaw doesn't make a sound at first. You probably won't notice it on May 2nd or May 3rd, but by the second week of May, somewhere between May 7th and May 12th, you're going to open your mouth to say something and notice that the words come out the way you actually meant them, without hedging, without softening, without the apologetic preamble you've been adding for 30 years. And what I want you to hear specifically is this. Of course you've been holding it. Look at what your voice has been asked to carry. Decades of being the person who keeps the peace, who softens the message, who translates between everyone in the family, who makes the apology that wasn't yours to make. The exhaustion in your throat, the specific weariness of a voice that has been used as a buffer instead of as itself, is real. And it's not going to be there in the same way after this ingress. This is the part nobody talks about. We talk about Mercury retrograde like it's a calamity. We don't talk about Mercury entering Taurus like it's a homecoming. But it is. For a voice like yours that has been doing the work of two voices for too long, this is a homecoming. The second message is relational, and it is this: the words that finally land. This one is going to surprise you, because Mercury in Taurus doesn't make you more talkative. It actually makes you quieter. But the things you do say in this window will land in a way they haven't before. Let me explain what I mean by that. There's a woman who wrote to me last month. I'll call her Diane. She's 64. She lives in northern Vermont, recently widowed, 2 grown children who live far away. She told me she'd been trying to have one specific conversation with her older daughter for 6 years, about something that happened in 2019, something her daughter said at a Christmas dinner that Diane never recovered from. Diane said she'd rehearsed the conversation hundreds of times, started letters and burned them, drafted texts and deleted them, and every time she tried to say it out loud, her voice would close up. The words wouldn't come out, or they'd come out wrong, or her daughter would deflect and the moment would close. I looked at Diane's chart, and I told her something I'm going to tell you now. Diane's Mercury is in Taurus natally, and she had been trying to have this conversation during transit periods when Mercury was in fast, scattered signs. Her voice was being asked to operate in a register it doesn't speak. I told her to wait until May, to wait until Mercury came home to her sign. I told her, don't rehearse it anymore. Just trust that when Mercury enters Taurus, the words will come. I'll tell you what happens during this window for everyone watching, not just for Diane. Mercury in Taurus speaks in landed sentences. It says one thing at a time. It doesn't qualify. It doesn't deflect. It doesn't pre-apologize. And on May 12th and 13th, when Mercury sextiles Jupiter in Cancer, Jupiter, the planet of generosity, in Cancer, the sign of family memory, the conversations that have been frozen between you and someone you love are suddenly possible. It could be with a sibling, with a parent who is still alive, with a parent who isn't, and you say it at the gravesite, with your spouse of 40 years, with a child who has gone silent, with the friend you lost in 2020, with yourself in the mirror, and that one counts. The universe doesn't make mistakes. This timing is deliberate. The Scorpio full moon at the end of April, that was the revelation. That was the moment what was buried came up. 3 days later, Mercury enters Taurus to give that revelation language. That sequence isn't accidental. It's how the cosmos always builds, feeling first, then word. and you're not imagining it when something inside you says, I think I can finally say this now. The stars confirm what you've already been sensing. The third message is the largest one, the civilizational one, the one I want you to sit with after this video ends. The message is this: contracts the soul actually signs. Mercury in Taurus is the planet of the deliberate word, the contract word, the word you put in writing because it carries weight. Saturn and Neptune are still moving through Aries. That's the generational backdrop, the rewrite of identity that's been happening since February. What Mercury in Taurus offers, inside that backdrop, is this: a window where what you commit to actually sticks. And I'm not talking about legal contracts, although those count too. I'm talking about the agreements you make with yourself in this window. The promise you make about how you're going to spend the second half of your life. The line you draw with a family member that you've been afraid to draw. The boundary you put in writing, even if the writing is just in a notebook nobody else will read. The yes you say to a project, a person, a calling. The no you say to a draining situation that has been bleeding you for a decade. In my 40 years of chart reading, I've seen this pattern over and over. The agreements people make under Mercury in Taurus tend to hold. The agreements they make under Mercury in fast signs, Aries, Gemini, Sagittarius, tend to dissolve. There's a reason ancient lawyers, ancient priests, ancient testimony takers waited for the right Mercury to write the document. They knew that words have weather, and Taurus is the weather of weight. And here's the part nobody talks about. With Pluto stationing retrograde in Aquarius on May 6th, right in the middle of this Mercury-Taurus window, the deeper structure of how you live is being rewritten under the surface. What you commit to between May 2nd and May 17th will be tested by Pluto for the next 5 months. What survives the test is what your soul actually signed. So if there's a yes you've been afraid to say, if there's a no you've been afraid to send, if there's a vow to yourself, to your body, to a person, to a calling, that has been forming inside you for years and you haven't made it formal, the next 15 days are when you make it formal. Now let me speak to the 3 signs who feel this most directly. And I want to remind you before I do, even if your sun sign isn't on this list, check your rising sign. Your rising sign is the lens through which Mercury enters your specific life. Don't skip these 3 sections. One of them is yours through your ascendant. If you are a Taurus, sun or rising, Mercury is entering your first house, your house of self, your house of voice, your house of how you show up in the room before you say anything. The sentence you've been editing in your head since 2019, the one about your body, your worth, your boundary, your name, wants out. Schedule 1 writing block before May 12th. Just you, paper, 20 minutes. Write the sentence once. Don't rewrite. The first version is the true one. After May 12th, when Mercury sextiles Jupiter in Cancer, that sentence will know where to go. If you are a Virgo, sun or rising, Mercury is entering your 9th house, your house of teaching, of publishing, of long-distance witness, of philosophy. There's a chapter, a testimony, a long letter, a teaching role you've been drafting in your head for years. This is the window where it writes itself. I want you to do something specific. Sometime between May 2nd and May 13th, sit down for one 90-minute block. No phone, no email, no interruption, and write the thing you've been afraid to write. Not perfect, just the honest version. Mercury in your 9th house wants the witness, not the polish. If you are a Capricorn, sun or rising, Mercury is entering your 5th house. Your house of creative voice, of what you make for joy, of children and grandchildren, and legacy expression. The project nobody knows about, the painting in the closet, the memoir in the drawer, the song you hum but never record, the recipe you've been meaning to write down for the next generation, wants language. Record one voice note for someone you love. Don't perfect it. Send it raw. Mercury Taurus rewards the unedited offering. And again, even if your sun isn't listed, check your rising sign. That's the lens. So I've shown you the sky. I've traced the timing. I've named the messages. The question I get most after a video like this one is, Luna, what do I actually do? I want to give you something, a ritual, specific, doable. Tonight if you want, or any night between now and May 13th. I call it the Clear Stream Letter, named after the Sabian symbol of the degree Mercury enters at, a clear mountain stream. Here's what you'll need. One piece of paper, real paper, not a screen, this is important. One pen you actually like. One glass of water, fresh. One quiet window of about 20 minutes when no one needs you. And here's what you do. You put the glass of water in front of you. You look at it. You notice that it's clear. That's the Sabian symbol made physical. Purity at source. You let yourself look at it for 1 full minute. Don't rush. Then at the top of the paper, you write the name of one person you've been editing yourself around. It might be a husband, a daughter, a son, a sister, a mother who's still here, or a mother who isn't, a father, a friend who hurt you, the boss from 2003, the version of yourself you used to be. It can be your own name, that counts. Choose one. Below the name, you write the one sentence you've been holding back. The exact sentence, not the polite version, not the soft version, the real one. Write it once. Don't rewrite. The first version is the true one. Mercury in Taurus knows that. Below the sentence, you write these exact words. This is the truth I've been holding. I release it from my throat. Then you fold the paper inward, toward yourself, not away. You're keeping this. You're not casting it out. You're completing it. Then, and this is the part that sounds simple, but isn't, you drink the glass of water. Slowly, like Mercury in Taurus drinks. Not all at once, sip by sip. Mercury in Taurus rules deliberate consumption, even of words, even of water. The affirmation, the exact words to say either out loud or in your head when you finish. My voice is a clear stream. What I say from here on lands the way it's meant to. That's the ritual. That's what I want you to do. And here's what to avoid for the 48 hours after Mercury ingresses. No rapid-fire arguments. No emails sent after 11 at night. No voicemails left in a panic. No signing anything legal in haste. Wait until at least May 5th, when the Mercury-Pluto square has cleared. Mercury Taurus rewards the slow. Mercury Taurus punishes the rushed. Let me answer some of the questions I know you're already asking. What if I miss part of this window? You won't. The window is 15 days. The peak is May 12th and 13th, when Mercury sextiles Jupiter. Anything you do between now and May 17th counts. The cosmos isn't grading you on punctuality. What if I do the ritual and nothing seems to happen? Mercury in Taurus moves slowly. The change shows up in week 2, not week 1. You'll notice it not as a thunderbolt, but as a small thing. You'll catch yourself saying something the way you actually meant to say it, and only afterward will you realize, that came out clean. What if my sun sign isn't Taurus, Virgo, or Capricorn? Check your rising. If your rising is one of those 3, you're in the same activation. And even if neither sun nor rising is Earth, every chart has a Mercury, and your Mercury is being walked over by the transit Mercury for these 3 weeks. Everyone gets touched. Some get touched more directly. What if I've already had the conversation I needed to have last month, last year? Then this window is for the second-tier conversation, the one underneath. There's always one underneath. Trust me on that. Is this going to get harder before it gets easier? The Mercury-Pluto square on May 5th will press. That's the only difficult moment. After May 6th, the field opens. By May 12th and 13th, you're in the soft sextile to Jupiter. The arc of this transit is from pressure to grace. That's the shape. Let me bring the 3 messages back together before I let you go. Message 1. The voice you froze is finding its channel. The Sabian symbol of the degree Mercury enters is a clear mountain stream. The water is thawing. Don't push. Let it come. Message 2. The words that finally land. Mercury in Taurus speaks in weighted, deliberate sentences. On May 12th and 13th, when Mercury sextiles Jupiter in Cancer, the conversations frozen between you and someone you love become possible. One sentence at a time. Message 3. Contracts the soul actually signs. The agreements you make in this window, yes, no, vow, boundary, commitment, are the ones Pluto will protect for the next 5 months. Make them deliberately. Mercury Taurus is the weather of weight. And what I want you to walk away with today is this. After everything this year has already asked you to release, And I know how much it's asked. I've been reading these charts and your messages all spring. The cosmos isn't done. But it's not asking you to release anymore. Starting May 2nd, it's asking you to articulate, to put into words, to say. You're not broken. You're becoming articulate. That's a different state of being entirely. I'll be honest with you. When I first sat with Mercury entering Taurus this cleanly, in a year as heavy as this one, I had to read the chart twice, because I couldn't believe how generous the timing was, how deliberately the cosmos was handing this back to a generation of women who have spent decades doing the talking work for everyone else. And now it's your turn to use your own voice for yourself. That's what this is. I want to hear from you. Tell me in the comments, what is the one sentence you've been holding back that you're going to write down between now and May 13th? You don't have to write the sentence itself. Just tell me you're going to do it. Hold yourself accountable here. I read every word, and what you share guides what I explore in the next video. Until next time, keep looking up. This is Luna Solano.